Today we're going to try Papa John's new Papa Bites, specifically Oreo, which might be kind of hard to tell because they don't really look super Oreo-y depending on the angle. Because you look at that, no Oreo, no Oreo, Oreo. It's kind of like they're stuffed on one side. I don't know how they make these, but the picture made them look really good, and these do not exactly look that good, but they do come with a cup of icing, which in all the promo pictures they show it like drizzled on really nicely. That's not how it comes. It comes with the cup of icing, and you're supposed to drizzle it yourself or dip, and obviously I'm gonna dip, and probably pretty heavily. Now you do smell the Oreo, because this is basically just pizza dough with Oreo bits, with bits of Oreo in it. That's really all there is to it. I don't think there's any like anything special about these. I don't think there's like any special ratio of cookie or cream or anything like that. I think it's literally just Oreo cookies that have been crushed up essentially and put inside Papa John's pizza dough with icing. So that, I mean, it kind of sounds like not good, but I'm hopeful. I'll give you this, Papa John. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, because usually your stuff is okay. But just the overall image of this box when I got it does not exactly present itself as super dessert-like. I feel like if there was some Oreo on the top, maybe I would be a little more impressed, but it's weird that even on all of these, it's like that. I'll just grab two more. It's like, oop, this one's breaking apart. You got Oreo kind of sticking out, but then when you look at a certain angle, it just looks like it's just a bread bite, essentially. Oreo's like on one side. It's very, very, very weird. So I'm sure everybody wants to know, while I drop all these Oreos in my car, what this tastes like. Now, they also put out chicken Parmesan bites, which honestly make 100% more sense in this format. That's, you know, chicken and cheese with marinara sauce, bam. Perfectly makes sense in a format with dough. And then they had a cheese and jalapeno one, which also makes sense to me, even though I don't like jalapeno. Cheddar jalapeno, I mean, not cheddar, mozzarella and jalapeno goes together perfectly fine with pizza dough. Got it. This is the one that's kind of like, I just don't know. So that's, you know, that's why I'm here. I gotta know exactly how this is gonna work, because it seems like such a weird idea. I mean, most pizza places already have like cookie desserts, but it's like, you know, cookies or a cookie pie or some kind of, you know, cake or some kind of dessert like that. I believe Papa John's has a cookie pie as well, unless they took that away, and a brownie and stuff like that. Those are the desserts you're used to, stuff you can bake quickly in a pizza oven. But here we are, and this icing doesn't look super appetizing either, but we'll see. I'm gonna dip it pretty heavily because I think the icing is definitely gonna be the highlight, even though it looks kind of weird. It looks, what's a good word for this? It looks kind of like goopy instead of smooth, which is odd, but here we go. Here's a bite of our Papa Bites Oreo cookie edition. Let's just hit it. What I'd like to try and do now is kind of show you the inside of one. It's a little bit difficult, but let's see if I can get it. I'll try to zoom it in when I edit the video, but you can see there, it's essentially a bread ball, and then there's a little bit of Oreo in one side. So it's like they baked a breadstick, or like a, you know, a dough ball stick, whatever you want to call it, and then they kind of just stuffed some Oreo in there, but not a lot of Oreo, which is kind of where my complaint comes from. But I'll say this, I don't hate this. I don't dislike it as much as I kind of thought I would, but it does taste, you know, and this is going to sound contradictory, but it does taste exactly how you would think it would taste. Which is like a breadstick with Oreos in it. It's weird because somebody, like, again, the dip does the heavy lifting, like I thought it would. The icing dip really does the heavy lifting on these. That's what you want. And then you get the Oreo back end. It's pretty good combination for most bites. But then you have some bites, like this one, which doesn't have much Oreo, really. And then you just get mostly bread, which is not ideal, I think, for a dessert item, or really any item as far as I'm concerned. You want to have the other flavors there and not just a bread ball, essentially. So I've eaten like 4 of these, and multiple bites out of the 4 were just basically breadstick. and not like particularly seasoned. I don't think they put any like butter or any kind of anything else in this breadstick. It's just bread, which is not terrible. You know, it's fine. It's just, that's not what I'm ordering Papa John's for. I don't want just bread. I want the Oreos, and there's really not enough here. I think that's really the problem. I think if they had crumbled more Oreos in here and maybe crumbled some on top and made it kind of like more of a platter instead of 8 separate bites, kind of like Domino's. Domino's has specialty chicken, which, if you don't know, is essentially they take their chicken, like their boneless chicken wings, and they put them all in a pile, and they dump a bunch of shredded cheese on it, and then other ingredients like tomatoes or buffalo sauce or whatever. That's their specialty chicken. It makes it kind of like one dish that you eat with a fork. That's what I think this should be. They should take all these bites, put them together, put some Oreos on top, bake it, and then give it to you, because it would be so much better with a higher ratio of Oreos than if it was more like a dessert you'd eat with a fork instead of grabbable things, because since they're grabbable, they're mostly bread and they're just not sweet enough on their own. Now with the dip, that's where it comes in. The icing, you know, pretty much it makes everything taste like icing. So you get a bread bite, you dip it in icing, it's going to taste like sweet icing, and that's going to be good because the icing is great. It's fantastic. But I don't think it should have to be the savior of the whole dish. It's kind of a crutch. It's there to pick up the slack from the lacking idea of the Oreo bread bites. They're just not thought through. They're just not a complete idea. I think it's, I don't know where they came up with this idea. I guess they were probably, you know, brainstorming the chicken parmesan and the pizza ones. Like, those make sense. And then they thought, you know, how do we make a new dessert? Oh, let's just put Oreos in our bread bites, and then, you know, obviously that's not going to work great, so we'll put icing in it. You know, bam. It's just kind of lazy. I think that's the real problem with this. It's a very lazy dessert, even though it's interesting, and like, it caught my eye when I first saw it, and I think it'll catch a lot of people's eyes when they hear about it. When they hear Oreo Papa Bites at Papa John's, they're going to be interested. But it is very lazy. It's down to exactly what, once you read the description of it, that's what it is. It's bread bites with Oreos layered in, but not a lot, with a cup of dipping icing on the side. And you can make of that what you will. You could drizzle it, you could make it look all nice, you could dip it, whatever. But the fact is that it's just it's really the icing that's doing the heavy lifting, and it's nice to get that Oreo flavor, but it just doesn't come through on most bites. So I think it's unfortunate that that's how it turned out. I think the idea could work, as I said. They just need to tweak it a little bit. And it's not bad as it is, because it's only $5. So for $4.99, I can't hate too much on it. But I think Papa John's could definitely do a lot better. So I'm going to give it a 3. It's okay. If you're going to Papa John's anyway, it might be worth trying just for fun. And the icing, again, is really good. So if you're just looking for something sweet, you got this. Just dip it in the icing. You could dip anything in this icing and it would taste great. You could dip a tomato in here and it'd probably be fantastic. But just know that the icing is really doing the heavy lifting, not necessarily the Oreo part. So that's Papa Bites Oreo Cookies Edition, and I will see you all next time.